Here's how I automated my LinkedIn posting with n8n and how you can too. My name's Matt and I run a software consultancy that specializes in building scripts for small to mid-sized businesses. And I also think n8n is really cool. I sell these automations for thousands of dollars to my clients. And this particular automation that I'm about to show you is worth thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars if it's in the hands of the right developer and the right salesperson with the right client. And you can have it for free. Why? Well, one, because I love Jesus and he loves giving things away for free. And two, it's very good for my business to give free things away. And so why does this particular workflow matter? Well, let's just break it down really quickly. Let's start with Kyle Milan, who runs a successful consultancy. LinkedIn made him $1.6 million in 3 years. Or how about April Little? It took her 3 years to rise to LinkedIn fame and build her personal brand. Or what about Niels Clement, who recently made $21,000 off of one post on LinkedIn? Or how about Sushrit, who had similar numbers but in 28 days? The list goes on and on and on. But what do they all have in common? They post on LinkedIn. And so this workflow will get you posting on LinkedIn every day, and it'll be easier than ever before because AI will be there to help you, and this automation will be there to force you to post. All you need to do is overcome your fear of being judged by people you are connected with. That's it. All right, let's get into it. All right, so let's get started with a demo. And we'll just show off what this tool can do. And I'll explain it as it's running this first flow. So this is a daily triggered workflow. That's how it's set up. It's going to grab information from Airtable, which is then going to two AI agent nodes. They're both using Claude. One is going to generate the caption or the post content, and the other is going to generate the image prompt. It's then going to be fed into the Stable Diffusion API, which will then upload that image binary that's created to LinkedIn so that it can be visible on our LinkedIn feed with the post content there as well. And so we'll head over to LinkedIn here and check out what came through. And we can see there it is. So an automatic post, a cool picture, definitely will grab the eye of whoever is looking at the post. A picture adds so much to a post. And I haven't seen any other automations on YouTube that show you how to post a picture on LinkedIn. There you go. Yeah, take a minute. Pause the video and just read that just so you can see that it's great. Claude's a great writer. Imagine if you posted that every day for 2 years and then you responded to all your comments on your post. I mean, it would be game over. You would have a following. It would just be, no matter who you are, whether you're nobody, whether you have an actual business that is profitable and just doesn't have a LinkedIn presence. It's so simple. So that's the demo. And so let's just walk through it now and we'll keep it high level. This workflow is available for you on the Skool Community, which I run. It is totally free. There is no reason that you shouldn't go grab this workflow if you want to build this out and just follow along. We'll go through step by step for the most part, the difficult parts of this workflow. And then if there's any questions, you just need to drop them down into the comments on this video. All right, let's get started with the actual nitty gritty of building this thing out, and we'll step into the different nodes. All right, so the Airtable node, you can see here, we are pulling from an Airtable, which just has a post idea and image idea, and then a caption or content description. Getting this set up in Airtable is pretty straightforward. All you need to do is go set up a free Airtable account. You can head on over to airtable.com and get that set up. You can create a new base. Just come into create, start from scratch. That'll take you in to something that looks like this. You can name it LinkedIn content creation, delete the rows that you don't need or the columns that you don't need, and just create this particular base. And then once you do that, you're going to come over to your account, click on Builder Hub, and then create a new token. Name your token whatever you want. You can name it n8n token. There's a couple scopes that you need to add. Data.records read, data.records write, and schema.bases read, and schema.bases write. Add all resources, and then create the token. I'm not going to create my token because you don't need to see it on YouTube, but just do that process. It'll give you the token. You can leave Airtable and come back into n8n, and you will just create a new credential in n8n and just drop in your access token there, and you'll be off and running with your Airtable. Airtable will then be the place where you put in your different ideas. So you just go into Airtable and drop in a post idea, an idea for an image for that post, and then what the caption description should be for that post, just to flesh out the content a little more. And I'll show you exactly how that runs through into the different AI agents, which are actually going to create the content for the post and then create the image prompt, which is going to generate a very appealing image. We deleted it. So the next thing you'll need to do, this limit node is just going to limit the number of items that are coming through to just the most recent node or the most recent row in the Airtable. And then there are some kind of technical pieces to getting your LinkedIn set up. I'm not going to do a deep dive into this. The LinkedIn API can be quite complex. All you need to know is you just need to copy this workflow, and then you're going to need to follow these steps on LinkedIn in order to get yourself set up for, creating a LinkedIn posting account. So what you're going to need to do is go over to LinkedIn, or rather developer.linkedin.com. Now you're at developer.linkedin.com. You're going to create an app. You're going to enter your app name, something like, n8n posting app. There you go. Great. You'll have to upload an image for the app. We'll do this just for purposes of teaching. And then I have read and agree to these terms. And then you'll press create app. Great. Now that you've created the app, you're going to need to add a couple products to the app. So you're going to click share on LinkedIn. You're going to request that access. You're also going to click sign in with LinkedIn using OpenID Connect. And then you need to go over to your auth. You're going to need to use the OAuth 2.0 tools. You're going to create a token. You're going to select all of these scopes and confirm you understand, and then request the access token. Click through the screens. And here is your access token. It is a password, so treat it as a password. I will delete this app after the video. You're going to copy that access token and bring it back into LinkedIn, where you will click into this particular node, and you are going to need to add your own credentials here. So you'll have generic credential type selected, header auth, and then in the header auth, you are going to type in authorization if it's not already there. I'm going to create a new credential just for the purposes of this. You'll type in authorization. You'll then click on the value, come over here and press expression and type in bearer, and then paste your token and then click save. And then make sure you name it something appropriate once you save the token. I'm going to X out because I do not need this token. I already have mine created, but that'll give you your token. And then the final step that needs to be completed is come back to LinkedIn developer, and you'll choose your app and you'll verify the app. You can just generate the URL, copy the URL, paste it into here, and then go through the necessary clicks. And then your app will be verified. I'm going to delete this app because I don't need it. But once you have that, you will be ready to go back into n8n, and your credentials will be stored in the header auth generic credential type in n8n. So this first node, the get LinkedIn, is going to get something that's called your subject ID that'll allow you to post. So we need the subject ID to post as you. You're then going to create a register upload link. This is going to allow you to upload an asset to LinkedIn. We're doing this before we start generating the images and the captions. That order is important so that we can pass the binary file from the create image directly into the upload binary, which is going to make a reference to the register upload. Again, you don't need to be too concerned about the mechanics of this, but this is just in case you're curious why the flow is created in the way it is. The next thing we're going to do is generate the caption. So we have Claude generating the caption, and we have a prompt that is based off of the Airtable caption description. So if you remember from Airtable, if we come into our schemas over here, right, the caption description was one of the 3 columns that we had in Airtable. So it's going to take this as a user prompt, right? Create a post about automation consulting services and how it is focusing on helping businesses move into the future by leveraging AI and business automations to maximize their revenue per employee. And you can see this is what it spit out on the last run, right? The future of business is not just having employees. That's the run that you saw go into LinkedIn. It's a beautiful post. You can tweak this system message however you need. You can tweak this user message however you need for your particular posting, the tone of voice you want to write, and all that stuff that can be properly configured for your particular brand, your personal brand, your company brand, whoever's going to be making the posts. And then it's important, you need to properly format this. So LinkedIn is picky about how the response comes through, and JSON, which stands for JavaScript Object Notation, is picky about the way the formatting is passed through the internet in order for the post to take. So this will be slightly complex, especially if you're not a programmer, but essentially all this does is it replaces any instance of a new line with the proper new line notation, which is just your return key or your enter key on your keyboard. And then what we're going to do is generate the image prompt with Claude, and Claude's going to generate that image prompt for us and then pass that image prompt into the Stable Diffusion API. So Claude, this is the user message that Claude is receiving. 2 people laughing together in business attire with a peaceful scene in the background. We're getting this from the limit node, which is just essentially pulling it from the Airtable node. But what this is going to do is generate an image prompt, and the system message for Claude is just that Claude is an expert image prompt creator. And you can see this is the prompt that we get. And the reason we got such a beautiful image from the Stable Diffusion API is because we prompted the Stable Diffusion API model well. And so if you need help setting up Claude, just check out the other video on my channel. We show you how to set up the Anthropic API. It's very simple. It'll take you, if you haven't done it before, probably 15 minutes. You'll need to put in just a couple dollars to make the API calls, but otherwise you'll be good to go. And then the Stable Diffusion API, this is the node that makes the call to the API, and you will need to go to Stable Diffusion's API or their API docs in order to set this up. But this is reasonably simple as well. So let's walk through this. We just go to stability.ai, platform.stability.ai. And you will need to make sure you create an account. And once you create the account, you're going to come in, click this little badge or icon for your profile. And then you're going to need to come in and create an API key. So you'll create that API key. Don't share it with anyone. You can copy it to your clipboard. I'm going to delete mine. But once you copy it to the clipboard, you're going to head back into n8n. And you are going to create a new credential. And you're going to type in authorization. And then you're going to type in bearer. You can press expression over here so you can see what you're typing. bear with a capital B, and then you would paste in your key. Again, it's a password, so treat it as a password, save it somewhere that you'll be able to find it again. You can name this stability.ai API call, and we will close out of that. That will get you configured on the Stable Diffusion API. I believe you get 100 credits to get started. Then they're going to make you pay an image to generate an image with their SD3 endpoint. I think is something like 7.5 credits or something like that. The images are decent images. Sometimes you get a really good image. Sometimes you get an image that's not so great. And you can also check out their docs here, their documentation, if you want to learn more about generating image or video. The API reference is where you want to go for that. Super helpful. Highly recommend spending a couple hours with those docs to really learn how to use this effectively. So back in n8n, we have everything configured. You'll have copied this from the Skool Community, which you can find in the bio below or the description below. And once that you have the Stability AI Stable Diffusion API call made, then we're going to pass it as image binary into the link that was generated previously from LinkedIn. That's just how this works. Again, this will be all set up for you, so I'm not going to go into too much detail explaining it. And then the final thing you do is you make the post to LinkedIn. This is the endpoint. You'll need to make sure that your header off is the same LinkedIn credential that you created before that is linked to your specific app. And then I'll just briefly explain this JSON here, just so you have some sense of what's going on. So the two most important things that are being passed in, or the three most important things that are being passed in, are your subject ID, and then the actual text, which is being posted. And again, we have formatted this correctly thanks to that JavaScript we wrote before. So we shouldn't have any errors with the posting. And then we pass in the digital asset URN, which is a uniform resource identifier. And that just tells LinkedIn what image to associate with the post. And so once you have done all those things, you are ready to go. You can set this up and you'll be able to generate probably 15 images for free on Stable Diffusion, which isn't much. You'll have to put in $10 to play around with that more. You can make API calls for just a couple of bucks with Claude. So all in, this will cost you $15 to generate hundreds of posts on LinkedIn. And this is just a winning formula. So the Skool Community you'll want to go check out and join is ACS, which stands for Automation Consulting Services. That's my business. AI Academy. And you can see we've got a community that's growing here. A lot of people are interested in learning AI and automation. I'm here to help and guide you along the way to save you tens, if not hundreds of hours on your journey. I'm on this community every day. I try to clear my DMs and answer all posts. So highly recommend coming over to to join the community, but then also to get the JSON that you can download into n8n. And I suppose I should just briefly show you how to do that too. So I will post it in the classroom here. You can just grab the JSON blueprint. You just download it to your files and then come over into n8n and then click import from file. And it's that simple. Just grab it from your local files and it'll pop up in your n8n instance. If you have any questions, please let me know and please reach out. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one.